Hey, hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SBTV. This is your weekly live stream from SBTV, which is an outreach part of Silver Bullion Private Limited over in Singapore, where we want you to understand Silver Bullion is the way to truly protect your wealth. So again, glad you're here. Quick roll call: Peter Frowine, James Richter, Carrie Ellen Wilder. How you doing, ma'am? Jeff, how you doing? Let's see what else is out here. Harold B, how you doing? Quick, if you could give me a sound check. Five fives are appreciated. This one's going to be pretty interesting. But I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about how 401ks in some sense are being politicized in some ways through ideologies. So we're going to take a look at that. And some things I found, I had to take a double dose of my high blood pressure pills because it was pretty disturbing. But then again, hey, I understand this is a topic where some people absolutely think ESG programs are the way to go. Some people think it's not the way to go, but we're all adults here and we all can make our own decisions for ourselves. So, let's just all keep a cool head and we'll get through this fine. I know we will get through this just fine. And before that, we're going to take a look at the recent Jim Forsyth interview from Silverback Precious Metals, look at a few things he had to say, and then we'll take a look at a few articles from Gerald Talente's most recent Trends Journal. And then we're going to get into that 401k. Is it being politicized? We're going to take a look at it, and I'm very curious to see what you have to say about it. So hang in there. I'll be with you folks in about 10 seconds or so, and we'll get this thing started. All right. Whoop. All right. Okay, hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SBTV. Again, we are the outreach portion of Silver Bullion over in Singapore, and our aim is to help you to truly secure your wealth. That is the aim of what we do. So, welcome one and all. If you are new here, go ahead and type in new and where you are from. And for the rest of you, Chris Primer, how are you doing? Aloha, Harold B55. Thank you for that. Ernest Blackmore, Rainy SoCal. All right, let's see who else is out there. Pablo Pina, how you doing? Patrick Bateman, greetings and salutations to you as well. Mickey, Truth Monster, and again, 495 Truth Monster. I think we still owe you a $10 Amazon gift card. No worries, we are there. So as mentioned, we are the outreach portion of Silver Bullion, where our aim is to truly secure your wealth. And you can find our website at silverbullion.com.sg, where yes, we do sell and buy precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium. We also store these metals. And the storing part is probably the most interesting part because we do own our own vault. We do not put your things in a third party vault. When you store it with us, you are dealing with the people that are actually storing your metals. And this is a big difference. So, a lot of you understand what's going on there. We need some sort of wealth protection, especially with what's coming down the road. Truly secure your wealth. Silverbullion.com.sg. Facebook, you can find us on Silver Bullion SG. Twitter, Silver Bullion PL for private limited. Instagram, some amazing pictures out there. It's really, really good pics. I mean, just go if you like silver and gold, head on over to our Instagram and take a look at some of the photos there. At Silver Bullion SG is Instagram. Audio only versions can be found on bit.ly slash SBTV iTunes or slash SBTV Spotify. And of course, Crisis Tracker. If you have that Telegram app, search t.me slash Crisis Tracker. If you don't have that Telegram app, go ahead and download it. It is free. You can have it for your mobile, you can have it for your desktop. And again, search t.me slash Crisis Tracker. And this is where Vincent and I will go ahead and as always mentioned, we're going to jump in the weeds, get a bit dirty for you, find the items, news articles that probably are most important to you in the way of finance, economics, and of course, gold and silver. And I tell you, there's a lot of things out there, and Vincent and I, we try to do the best we can to get to news that is pertinent, that is of course real. So again, we thank you all for being here. Truly do appreciate it. Upcoming guest is going to be Keith Weiner, founder and CEO of Monetary Metals. Keith is one of the more interesting guys. He's a pretty colorful guy. If you ever have a chance to talk to him, his mind is just three-dimensional, four-dimensional, and it's always on 24/7. He is the founder and CEO of Monetary Metals, an investment firm that is unlocking the productivity of gold. And most people regard gold as a dry asset to lock away in a vault, incurring storage fees, and many are waiting for it to rise in price. Keith and Monetary Metals, they are on a mission to change this. So again, make sure you see this interview. I know there's going to be some pretty good things that we'll talk about. So hit that bell, subscribe, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Thumbs ups are always appreciated, as are you, where we want to give you a $10 Amazon e gift card. And to get it, you have to be one of the first five to answer a question from a past interview correctly in this live stream before the timer runs out. And I will tell you, the interview is going to be the recent Jim Forsyth interview. So something he said, something Jim Forsyth said, is going to be the answer to the question. US winners will be given a link to download the gift card. Non US winners, you can ask Amazon to please exchange my gift card. I can't use it in my country. And usually Amazon is pretty good about this. So, usually no problems there. And you'll have to provide us with an email during this live stream so we can go ahead and send these gift cards out after the live stream. I think Truth Monster, again, we have to get one to you. So again, Henry, Freedom for All, how you doing? Just want to make sure I get you guys. Joe, Jay, actually, how you doing? James Bell, how you doing? John D. Liberto Wiener is brilliant. I tell you, he's one interesting guy. He will I mean, very thought provoking man, and that's something that I do appreciate from Keith. Yeah, 495, love love the Wiener, super smart dude, absolutely. Tweety Bird, how you doing? Ryan Trask, first time I've seen your name here. Welcome aboard from Southern Minnesota. And yes, Pistol Pete, Keith is a genius. So, having said that, and cleaning house, keeping in touch with each of you, the question, the question to get this gift card. Jim Forsyth said he read the book, The Blank Blank, and realized this is it. This generation is rising up. Go ahead and take a shot at it. If you saw that interview, you may know the answer to it. Jim Forsyth said he read the book, The Blank Blank, and realized this is it. This generation is rising up. So I'll be looking for your answers here. Go ahead and take a shot at it. You never know. You just might get it. And we'll be sending out a gift card at the end of this live stream. All right. So we see some answers coming in. Harold B says the fourth turning. John D. Liberto says the fourth turning. Rod Panhard says the fourth turning. Carolyn Wilder, Holy Bible. I'll say it's not the answer, but it's a very good book. If you ever read that book cover to cover, it's a really interesting book. Peter Frowine, fourth turning. Mickey, fourth turning. And I tell you what, we're going to end it there because we do have our five winners. The answer was fourth turning. The winners that we're going to be sending out the gift card to after the program are going to be Harold B., fourth turning, John DiLiberto, fourth turning, Rod Panhard, fourth turning, Peter Frowine, fourth turning, and Mickey, fourth turning. So these are going to be the five winners. We'll send out the gift card after the live stream. And just to make sure that we all got it right, we're going to revisit that Jim Forsyth interview. Jim Forsyth from Silverback Precious Metals. And I tell you, it's pretty amazing what he's doing. I got to see part of what's going on in his workshop, and it's pretty amazing. Nonetheless, here is part of that interview with Jim Forsyth.
It all triggered around GameStop. When that happened, and I saw the younger generation kind of taking on a hedge fund. And I read The Fourth Turning thanks to Larry Lepard. He recommended that book to me, and I said, "This is it. This is, this generation's kind of rising up to deal with what's happening." And Happy Hawaiian posted that post onto Wall Street. which then triggered the creation of Wall Street Silver. And I just thought this was the time with what's going on with the Federal Reserve, with the deficits, but yet seeing, and it's not really just a younger generation; it's all generations are in Wall Street Silver, but seeing that kind of growing energy and growth in what was going on, I said we got to be part of this. It's time, something's happening. We got to get some media presence. And as time went on, she and I kept talking about starting a nonprofit to do this, and finally we did.
All right, yes, it is time to realize what's going on and, of course, do something about it. Jim Forsyth saying GameStop triggered a movement. Younger generation took on a hedge fund. Wall Street Silver was created, and all generations are in Wall Street Silver. That is true. You ever take a look at Wall Street Silver? I mean, you see it up and down, young and old. You see it up and down, average Joe all the way to the wealthy. So, what are your thoughts on Wall Street Silver? I mean, really going back to that day where silver hit $30, their first raid, silver hit $30, and the day it was smashed down or tamped back down, and it has never even smelled $30 ever since. So, what are your thoughts on that? Henry, fourth turning is great. Every time I recommend it to people, well, they think I'm crazy. All right, Henry. So again, just want to go through the five winners. I'm not sure if Vincent is here, but again, Harold B, John Lee DiLiberto, excuse me, Rod Panhard, Peter Frowine, and of course Mickey. Mickey, congratulations, one and all. Oops, sorry, Mickey, congratulations, one and all. So again, I'll be looking for your comments on this. Going back to the day where Wall Street Silver had their first raid, we saw silver get up to about $30 an ounce, and it's never smelt $30 ever since. And of course, we had that tamp down. So, what are your thoughts when we recall that day? Moving forward, I will play another clip from Jim Forsyth.
You got to overcome Gresham's law, and it's a chicken or the egg thing, right? Gold and silver will retain their purchasing power. The price will move consistently up as money is printed, but that's if we're using it as money. In the meantime, the highly leveraged futures market can cause crazy things to happen in the meantime. And that's why the futures market was created. You look at the State Department memo, as they said it would introduce volatility and discourage people from holding. And I think we've gotten to the point where you have to get over that fear of that volatility and start holding, start using it as currency, and we'll get past this and have a better world because of it.
All right, so Jim Forsyth continuing on to say gold and silver will retain purchasing power. And in fact, we have seen this. We have seen this through the decades. We have seen this through the centuries where the dollar is actually losing its purchasing power, and we are seeing gold and silver retain its purchasing power. Futures market was introduced to create volatility. I mean, if we can go back to things like the London gold pool, where there was a concerted effort by banks to control the gold price. Even in some cases later on, it was meant to, futures market came on after the London gold pool disappeared, was meant to create volatility, and people, they kind of, well, we've seen what happened with gold and silver since with this volatility, and we do need to get over the fear. That is something, it's an individual thing. We need to get over that fear. Uh, Maybe the fear now is more perhaps with what's going on in the world. I mean, when we have that chaos meter, if it's pointing to things are going to get better, or maybe is it pointing to things are going to get worse? We have to kind of take in all information and decide what we are going to do. So I'd like to know your thoughts on this as well with what Jim Forsyth said. And again, for the winners, go ahead and please email us at sbtv@silverbullion.com.sg. So again, we can send you the prize after the live stream. One more clip from Jim Forsyth.
Well, I definitely think it's bad. It's horrible. I mean, if you look at what happened in Canada with freezing people's funds, CBDCs will allow that at a granular level. Collect data on people, figure out who you want to freeze their assets of. I mean, we got our assets frozen by PayPal, and now just imagine the government in control of all that. I think it's going to fail. The way they'll try to get people onto it is universal basic income paid into the CBDC, right? But I think they're under this illusion that people are looking at Bitcoin and saying how wonderful it is, and therefore they can tap into that same thing. But no, Bitcoin, people like Bitcoin because it's outside the government. People aren't going to embrace a government-based crypto, other than people that are getting a UBI in order to do it. But even then, that's just going to further erode the value of that system. You give everybody a CBDC, pay a bunch of money into it, and those tokens are rapidly going to become worthless. So I think it's something we need to fight against and not take part in. But I'm a lot more optimistic than other people saying, this is inevitable, it's going to happen, and this is how they're going to retain control. They're not. They're going to lose control, or at least that's our goal.
All right, Jim Forsyth, CBDCs are dangerous. Again, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, as mentioned the other week, I was going to go into the trials of the digital dollar and, of course, CBDCs, but I kind of think we needed a break from that. And that was, of course, when we found these AMM or automated market makers, which we went over last week. Just as dangerous, perhaps. Nonetheless, CBDCs, they allow you to collect data on people. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Who really wants to use this data that's going to be collected? And again, for what purposes do we need to collect data on people? They allow the ability to freeze assets. This is also a concern. We saw what happened with the truckers. If you supported that cause, we saw people's bank accounts get frozen. So again, this is in fact, we weren't even at CBDCs yet. We were just with bank accounts. So again, if you have money in a bank account, I mean, you are a creditor to that bank, and just as we saw, even without CBDCs, your account can get frozen if you're not on the certain side of a fence that they want you to be. And again, CBDCs may come through universal basic income. This part is rough because as jobs really start to dwindle, and not by the way of where people don't have a job, but by way of it looks like we're really going to have certain industries, and we may not have certain types of other industries anymore. And so we may be looking at things like these universal basic incomes where I don't know what you're going to do, but there's going to be digits that come into your account. And of course, if you want to keep them, you're going to have to play ball. But ultimately, Jim says CBDCs will fail. So, what are your thoughts on these? Are you for CBDCs? I mean, again, some of the pros are really, you know, it removes intermediary banks where perhaps fees can be a bit cheaper for on the retail side. Things can be a bit quicker. I mean, there are some pluses that people say, but what is your take on CBDCs? So again, Truth Monster did not know this. Wall Street Silver was born because Reddit was censoring. I did not know that. Great, Nate. I pay my hairdresser with the silver eagle. Really? Okay. I'm gonna have to learn how to cut some hair then. If that's the case, I don't mind getting paid in silver eagle. Pablo Pina, yes, we've seen it in other nations like Venezuela for sure. Uh, let's see. Big Swear says silver was tamped down that day with shorts by the U.S. Mint. Okay, another interesting opinion there. All right, so moving on. Let me just check through a bit more comments here. Um, let's see. Okay, I think we're okay. All right, so I want to move on to of course, Gerald Celenti's most recent Trends Journal. I'll take a look at his weekly message and two articles: Capitalism to Corporatism and Interest Rate Struggles. Gerald's weekly message: Politicians are our saviors, journalists are their disciples. Follow their message or receive eternal damnation. And if you don't believe in my political God, you should go to hell. All right. Gerald's words in his weekly message. As we enter the holy holiday season, it is worth noting the seismic change in the public's relationship with politicians. The masses bow down to them and call them their leaders. The former sitcom actor who played the role of president of the Ukraine and played the piano with his body part and is now officially Ukraine's president, Mr. Zelensky. And he sits at the head of this table. And the holiest of his followers, including all those who hang Ukrainian flags in front of their houses and shops, genuflect at the altar of Zelensky. Actors, comedians, and politicians from around the world have gone to Ukraine to bow down to him. You are my hero, blurted out the American comedian Ben Stiller when he met Zelensky. As Anthony Frieda's brilliant cover illustrates, the US has its own list of politicians with a religious following. However, they are just false idols that the Bible has warned us about. As Karl Marx famously wrote, religion is the opiate of the masses. And in today's world, the religious belief in politicians is a deadly drug. Freedom of thought is the most fundamental and important gift of all. We are political atheists. We give you the truth in trends, a man and a woman. All right, Gerald Salente. Capitalism, capitalism to corporatism. Northvolt, Europe's premier maker of batteries for electric vehicles, is looking to expand its presence in the US, lured by at least 369 million in financial incentives offered through the Inflation Reduction Act to build a factory here compared to Germany's offer of about 155 million euro, according to the Financial Times. The incentives become available on the 1st of January, and Northvolt is not alone in being seduced by US handouts. I Iberdrola, I guess, the Spanish energy firm, is putting half its foreign investment in the US in 2023 through 2025 compared to less than half that amount in Europe. The US is very much more attractive in part by offering 100 billion with the B in aid to produce green hydrogen, while Europe's subsidies totaled about 5 billion euros. Safran, which makes airplane parts in France, is now shifting its focus to Asia and the US and and has put off a decision on a new French factory for at least 18 months, according to the company. Another incentive to move natural gas in Europe is about 5 times more costly in Europe than the US, a differential likely to persist for some time. Safran's energy costs will be about 5 times higher next year than they were in 2019, while energy prices in the US have remained relatively stable, according to CEO Olivier Andre, said in a recent comment cited by the Financial Times. Now, the European Union, or EU, is alleging that the US incentives violate rules of the World Trade Organization and create a race to the bottom in giving financial breaks to businesses. The EU and the US have established a task force to resolve the issue, focusing on 9 provisions in the act that have a value of 231 billion. The FT noted, and it says the task force intends to ready solutions to present to the Bilateral Trade and Technical Council, which meets on 5 December. Czech Trade Minister Mr. Sikela told the FT. Uh, Most importantly, the gist of this, the conflict is very worrisome to Dutch Trade Minister. And he says, I want to avoid a trade war by any means, she says in comments quoted by FT. No one benefits from any trade war. So interesting to see how Europe or the EU may actually get in some type of a trade war with the US. Very, very interesting there. Interest rate struggles. As we have greatly detailed, the rise and fall of interest rates is a guessing game since facts do not matter. Again, the facts are clear, front and center. Inflation was spiking, but the central banksters defamed those of us who said it was real and rising, and instead declared it was only temporary and then transitory. The following spotlight covers the latest interest rate movements to expect now and in the near future. Members of the U.S. Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee, which sets interest rates, agreed that smaller rate hikes can begin soon, according to minutes from their most recent FOMC meeting. And if a substantial majority of participants judge that a slowing in the pace of increase would likely soon be appropriate. Now, that will allow Fed officials to assess the impact of their aggressive rate hikes on the economy's performance. The uncertainty lags and magnitudes associated with the effects of monetary policy actions on economic activity and inflation were among the reasons cited regarding why such an assessment was important, according to the minutes. And the news confirmed recent statements by Fed officials, and we saw that drive stock prices higher. but analysts widely expect the Fed to add half a point, only just half a point, to its federal funds rate when the committee meets again mid December, moving away from that three-quarter point increase. However, several of the central bank's key players have said they do not yet see sure signs that inflation has turned. They don't see it. Therefore, rate hikes will continue at some level, according to the FOMC. And as a result, the Fed's peak rate might exceed 5%, the minutes showed, not a peak at 4.6%, as the central bank officials had foreseen earlier. So things are changing too. It looks to me like right now they're pretty uncertain, so they're trying to play it a bit more cautiously. But we've been told time and time again, you can't pull that plug too early, otherwise it will do more damage than good. So, all right, we'll take a look at the yield curve and how's it doing. This is a yearly compilation of how the yield curve, excuse me, has been moving for everyone to see. As it's going up and to the right, it means the outlook for the economy is good. As we see it starting to flatten, it means the optimism for the economy is falling. And as we see it inverted, it's pretty much a sure sign that there is going to be a recession on the way. So this is how the yield curve has been moving through the year. I think December has there's 2 days for December. I need to include those later on, but nonetheless, we can go ahead and see how yields all started to rise. There was still a slope up and to the right, and then we see how it started to flatten. And the interesting part is later on, you're going to see how the left hand side, the short end, 1, 2, 3, 6 month, and 1 year really start to push up. And this is where things are getting pretty interesting. So okay, so we're into September. We can see every yield has risen, and October, and then we're seeing the left hand side really starting to rise as we move into November. So there you go. As mentioned before, you can your 1 month yield, 2 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, all giving you better yields than a 30-year treasury yield rate. So that is pretty telling right there. All right, so we'll move on. Let me take a look at a few comments here. Peter Frowine, CBDCs are slavery. So yes, they are very dangerous. Let's see. Fortnite, fine. The sheeple will love CBDCs. Yes, do not be a slave. Peter Frowine, do not be a slave. Financial freedom is not financial freedom in dollars. Financial freedom is being free from the current financial system. That means things like gold and silver. What else is out there? CBDCs, the new tyranny. I mean, I get it. I know how a lot of people feel with these CBDCs. It's not easy to live without cash and coin. Very difficult to go ahead and buy cigarettes if you're not supposed to have any cigarettes. Buy some sweets if you're not supposed to have sweets. It's going to be very difficult. Let's see what else is out there. The MiG-26 CBDC corrupt bankers digital currency. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'll move down a bit, and we're going to take a look at the our website silverbullion.com.sg, where yes, as Vincent has noted, silver is above 23 on that weekly close. It's about time. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our website, silverbullion.com.sg. Let me go ahead and refresh this here. Again, SBTV is the outreach portion of Silver Bullion, which is located in Singapore. And again, yes, we do buy and sell gold and silver. We do store gold and silver. We do have programs where you can collateralize your gold and silver. So a lot of things you can do with us that you may not be able to do with your ordinary bullion dealer, and of course with your vault. In fact, we do invite people to see the vault. So very big difference there. So let me take a look here. So we got these 1,000 ounce silver LBMA bars, 80 cents over spot, 80 cents per ounce over spot. That's pretty good for those of you trying to get the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to silver. Promo silver maples, $5 per ounce above spot, and maples, gold maples, $50 per ounce above spot. And of course, our vault still under renovation, but it's getting there. It's an amazing sight to see for sure. Silver, 23.45. It's moving this morning, up some 22 cents this morning here in Asia. Gold 1808. It's up almost $10 here in Asia this Monday morning. Platinum as well is up, and we see nickel, which is electric vehicle metal, probably the most one of the most important metals in that electric vehicle battery, up some $26. So all metals doing good. If you'd like to buy, invest, store, sell, if you have these metals, sell. If you want to sell them back to us, you can go ahead and do it. These metals all are doing good this morning. If you speak a different language, congratulations to you. But you can go ahead and speak to us possibly in your own foreign language. And we do have different members of our team who can go ahead and speak to you in a language that you are comfortable with. Our products and services guide, this is free. Just go ahead and click on it, and you'll see the different things that we go ahead and do. So of course, this is the image of the reserve in the background, what we expect it to look like once it's complete. Warren Buffett, today people who hold cash equivalents feel comfortable. They should not. They have opted for a terrible long-term asset, one that pays virtually nothing and is certain to depreciate in value. So again, different types of things here. The safe house, which is our vault. Uh, it is amazing what the guys do there. They have a lab. They test the metals. They parcelize the metals. They absolutely make sure that what you buy you own, and it is separated. It is segregated. It is yours. You own it. So a few things here from this product guide. Stagflation hedge, gold and silver are definitely something that can help you with the upcoming stagflation, which we may be at the beginning ends up. So again, our website here, silver to gold ratio 77 now to 1. Last week we were at about 82, I believe. 82. It took 82 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. Now it's 77. So this ratio is coming down. It's below 80. It's been a while. It has been a while since it's gone below 80. So 77 ounces of silver equals 1 ounce of gold price wise. This is price wise. So again, if you're on the fence trying to make a decision, should I buy silver? Should I buy gold? Silver still looks to be a bit undervalued relative to gold, but we need to watch this ratio closely. This is something you can use for you to switch between gold and silver. There are times you may want to sell your gold to get silver. Silver accumulates as the ratio goes up. And then you can go ahead and as the ratio comes back down, sell off that silver and pick up gold. It's a way to get more gold at a cheaper price. Featured products. So again, silver Britannia, silver maples. But I want to stick with the silver LBMA bars because again, this is probably the best, the biggest bang for your buck if you are trying to buy silver. 4 bars available in the shop. I was just at the shop this past weekend. It was good to meet a few of you out there. And 437 in storage. So what this means is as soon as you buy this bar, it goes into storage. It belongs to you. It's in your name. So especially for people outside of Singapore, you would have to though sign up as a silver bullion user. You would need to create an account. We have 6 types: a personal, a joint, a trust, a joint account with the minor, a business account, and a retirement account, uh, commonly known as the precious metals IRA type of account. So depending on what your needs, we have 6 different types of accounts that you can sign up for. Personal accounts are the easiest. We just need your information from you and an ID, fill out the application, and then that's it. We'll go ahead and do what we need to do on the back end and get you up and running. This is account that is free to open. Just have it ready to go if in case really you need to use it somehow, some way, and we can help you understand the ways you can use it. And of course, please do go ahead and put in SBTV. This helps us out a lot. We do appreciate it. All right, moving on to Twitter. Let me take a look and see what's going on there. Frank Holmes, very, very interesting guy, says it is tragic we are being manipulated with this media PR campaign after severely harming the global crypto ecosystem. And of course, he's talking about how basically this guy here, SBF, is getting cover. He's getting cover. So again, it's a bit unfortunate according to Frank Holmes. Lauren Boston, the fiat world is worried. Wage inflation is just taking off. Railway workers, we talked about this a while back, and it seemed like it's going to be settled, but maybe not so sure now. Railway workers will end up being paid much higher despite being ordered back to work. Last month, United Airlines workers rejected a 15% wage increase over 18 months, and American Airlines pilots rejected a 19% pay raise over 2 years. So this is going to be interesting to see how this really now plays out. Rail is extremely important. Frank Holmes again. Blackstone Inc.'s 69 billion real estate fund for wealthy individuals said it will limit limit redemption requests after breaching limits this quarter, sending the private equity firm's stock down the most in more than 5 months. All right, so interesting. A limit redemption. George Gammon, maybe it's not as simple as good versus evil. He's talking about what's going on in the Ukraine. Apparently, it looks like the Zelensky there is announcing he is seeking to ban all religious ties with Russia, and he claims the move is needed to guarantee spiritual independence to Ukraine. This law will target billions of Ukrainians who identify as Russian Orthodox. Uh, so I guess support is going to a man who wants to ban a religion. Um, Interesting to see how things are surely changing. Saipi Silver breaking Silverback in the top five biggest assets in the world with this week's stellar performance. Taking a look at that, we see gold, some fruit company, Saudi Aramco, some computer company, and then we see silver, number five. So silver is in there. It's making some news. That's a good thing, perhaps. Let's see what else is out there. Something going on with Tether. I need your help with this. I need you smart guys out there. According to Deso, new printing zone $1 and 0001, 50 plus 50 million today. Um, he's looking at the peg spends some time within the preceding 24 to 36 hours within the printing zone. The printing zone. Tether will print USDT to Binance to wash trade. Wash trade. All right, according to Dessel. So I need your help with this one. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Be looking for your opinions on that. Lobo Tigre, here's the link. Anyone who thinks OPEC Plus has any interest whatsoever in helping the West reduce its energy costs is utterly disconnected from reality. Why? OPEC Plus agrees to stick to its existing policy of reducing oil production. They are going to reduce oil production. That is definitely not going to help what the West is trying to do. And maybe I'll just do two more. How about arresting the repulsive FTX guy who owes 32 billion? I mean, this was news where police arrest an elderly Alabama woman over unpaid $77 trash bill. So an old lady gets arrested. She didn't pay $77 for her trash bill. And then we have guys who are doing things with millions and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars who are just kind of getting cover. And so far, nothing yet. And the last one here, I'll stop here. David Morgan, state attorneys generals fight monster corporations from turning the screws on household energy consumption. Let me take a quick look at what he's talking about. This link here. Canadian Free Press, state attorneys generals monster fight monster corp. Okay, so what is the gist of this story? Let me go ahead and make it a bit bigger. No time for a digital mailing list. Sorry. Make it bigger. So how can behemoth asset manager Vanguard affect everyday homeowners' ability to heat their household in the face of winter's onset? By setting themselves up to acquire influential numbers of shares of publicly held utilities around the nation, Vanguard will impose ESG, net zero carbon practices upon power companies, as they have already done with other corporations where they packed the boards. While Apple aids CCP crackdowns using their enormous power, shutting down AirDrop on iPhones to further subjugate. Well, we know what happened with the protests. It distracts from equally huge corporations swallowing power companies to control America's energy use. So let me just get into this. Um, Environmental social governance (ESG) standards are designed to gut consumption of energy, affecting all fuel sources by promoting the irrational concept that CO2 is toxic to Earth. ESG demands implementing an impossible to achieve net zero policy, allowing ESG ideals to infiltrate and drive public utilities operations would cause energy availability to plummet while escalating rates, creating havoc with household and business budgets and decreasing every industry's production. All right. And so I'll end it there because I mean, I just found this article this morning, and it kind of leads into what we wanted to talk about here, where our 401k, our 401k, uh, is it moving from investing in companies that have performed well into investing into companies that have this sort of an ideology. And this is very different now from what 401ks traditionally were allowed to move into. So we're going to take a look at this. So this live stream, we're going to look at what happened recently where around the Thanksgiving holiday, Joe Biden did something very interesting. His administration rolled back a Trump rule and they reversed it. Now, so far, Mr. B, he's on a roll, a roll back, where policies including student debt forgiveness, the shutdown of a pipeline causing the U.S. to go from energy independent to energy dependent again. And he's even dipped into these petroleum reserves, strategic petroleum reserves, leaving them at fairly low and dangerous levels. So he's on a roll. And now another rollback. He's reversing this Trump rule, and I'm not showing this, with any political favor. I mean, it is what it is. What I just said was factual. It is what it is. There's no taking any side of the fence there. But what I'm really trying to show here is where debt is dominating a nation and causing the demise of a nation. And you and I, we're gonna pay. We're gonna pay literally as we make the bigs get bigger. We just saw that Vanguard article. We're going to make the bigs get bigger and erode the fabric of many nations all across the world. It's not just us. So let me take a look at a few comments here before we move on, so I can get up to speed with you folks. I should say. Um, okay, a lot of comments going on. Appreciate that. Okay, Carry on Wilder could be. ESG is designed to impoverish the masses and funnel all wealth to the 1/100th of a 1%. It could be. And this is what we're going to look into. And we're going to get into something when I found out, yeah, I had to take another high blood pressure pill because that one really got to me. Okay, so moving on. We know we are heading to CBDCs, which many will tell you will decimate the freedoms all around the world, no matter how you define the word freedom. As I've said before, different parts of the world will define freedom in a different way. Nothing wrong with that. We see things differently. That's what makes us beautiful, right? We all see things differently. And we also know we are going to limit carbon, limit or remove fossil fuels. We know we're going to go green. And many people we have spoke to and brought to you through various interviews have said you cannot 100% depend on wind. That is true. Is it windy every day, all day, constant, a kilometer per hour, mile per hour wind rate? No. So that is true. And you cannot depend 100% on solar. That is true. What if it gets cloudy? I mean, what if for whatever reasons, cloudy, rainy, whatever it is, you can't 100% depend on solar. You're not going to get that same constant, let's just call it solar rate 24/7. So you cannot 100% depend on these things. In other words, going completely green and not using fossil fuels, simply an impossibility unless you want to have either a lower standard of life. I don't think you do, or less people sharing planet Earth to use resources. I'm not going to get into that. I can hear you folks already screaming with that one, but I'm not going to get into it. But we do know that these are a couple items, I guess, that we would have to consider. So nonetheless, World Economic Forum types are pushing this green movement, a climate change narrative to save us, to save the earth, and I mean, saving people, saving the earth, it sounds noble, right? I mean, you got to give them that. It does sound noble. It does sound great. It sounds great, but you just tell us at least two things. Just tell us at least two things here. One, how much of my life will change for the better or maybe for the worse? And two, how are these things going to be paid? So that's all I want to know. How is my life going to change for the better or the worse? And how are these things going to be paid? Now, we don't know how much for better or for worse life will change, sort of. But the second part, how are these things going to be paid for? And is this really for the betterment of mankind? Mankind, get it? Or for political gain and power and control? So we need to decide what or understand what is this really for. So let's now go forward and stay in our lane here just a bit and stick with what happened over Thanksgiving. So let me go ahead and get to this article here. This came out on Barron's, let's see, November 22. Funds that include environment, social, and governance, better known as ESG stocks, can now go into 401k retirement plans after the Labor Department reversed a Trump administration rule on Tuesday. Okay, so this is facts, not political. The agency finalized the new regulation that permits retirement plans to consider climate change and other ESG factors when they select funds for the menu of investments available to plan participants. Now, the rule will be effective 60 days after it is published in the Federal Register. Now, right now, plans can only consider performance, performance related factors. So, your fiduciaries took a look at how companies perform. They did not take a look at the company's ideology, and this is what is going to change. So despite ESG's funds growing popularity, investors have been hard pressed to find such options in their 401k plans. The Morningstar said in 2020 less than 5% of retirement plans had at least one sustainable fund. The Trump era rules had a chilling effect that kept more ESG funds from being added, according to Labor Department officials. And today's rule, or back then, clarifies that retirement plan fiduciaries can take into account the potential financial benefits of investing in companies committed to positive environmental, social, and governance actions as they help plan participants make the most of their retirement benefits. And removing the prior administration's restrictions on plan fiduciaries will help America's workers and their families as they save for a secure retirement. Okay, so prior to Biden, there were regulations in place where ESG offerings were restricted in retirement plans. And those regulations instructed plan fiduciaries to only consider investment performance related factors when choosing what investments would be able to plan participants. As I said earlier, Biden reversed the regulation. Well, why? Why did he reverse the regulation? Was it to push the agenda that we clearly see before us? Um, and this is something that some of us agree with, and some of us don't. But nonetheless, it does seem to where your 401k is being politicized. So I'd like to know your thoughts on this. Let me catch up with you a bit here. Um, let's see. Peter Frohwein cashed out all my retirement funds in 2020, converted to gold and silver. Smart man. Very, 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 very smart man. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, again, continuing on ESG will feel. I tell you what, I mean, it's tough call because some people really, really, they they want this, and others they don't. They see it similar to a CBDC where it's just more about control and less choices, and where the bigs get bigger and things like that. So okay, I'll move on, but I'll be looking for your thoughts on this right now. So ESG, of course, stands for environmental, social, and governance. Investors are increasingly applying these non financial factors, non-financial factors as part of their analysis process to identify material risks and growth opportunities. But again, these are non-financial factors. Remember, as mentioned prior to Biden, fiduciaries only were to look at performance related factors, not on ideology. And this is the problem because ESG, they have, again, non financial factors. And back in 74, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, otherwise known as ERISA, it's a federal law that protects the retirement assets of American workers. The law, which was enacted in 74, implemented rules that qualified plans must follow to ensure that plan fiduciaries do not misuse plan assets. Now, most importantly, it also grants retirement plan participants the right to sue for benefits and breaches of fiduciary duty. So, what is a fiduciary and what is their duty? Simply put, a person or organization that makes financial decisions on behalf of another party who is legally obligated to act in their client's best interest. So the question here is how this new rule is going to cover fiduciaries for ESG investments, because it is. The answer is yes. Fiduciaries are going to be covered. They can invest in an ideology now. But before they couldn't. Now they can. So they will not be legally held for investing your 401k, let's say monthly contributions in ESG companies. They're not going to be legally held responsible for it. Now, here's the thing, who are some of these ESG companies? I'm going to take a look at some of the top companies, the top 15. And forewarning, if you're on meds, take your meds. Take your meds before I show you these top 15 companies because I mean, at least I know for me, it got me a bit boiling. So anyway, here are the top 15 companies. This is coming from Yahoo Finance. Are you guys ready for this? Uh 15 biggest ESG companies in the world. Number 15, Pfizer. Pfizer. Pfizer, number 15. The 15 biggest ESG companies in the world, coming in at number 15 is Pfizer. All right. The 14, Bank of America. Bank of America Corporation. Unbelievable. Pfizer and now Bank of America. 13 may surprise you. It's the Home Depot. Uh, I've been out of the States for about some 20 years. I have not seen a Home Depot in 20 years, or I should say, I haven't been home in about 20 years. Last I remember, Home Depot was a pretty good place. I haven't seen it since. Has Home Depot changed in some ways? But they come in at number 13. So Pfizer, Bank of America, Home Depot, Mastercard, Mastercard Incorporated, another top 15 ESG company. Mastercard, Procter and Gamble, Procter and Gamble, another one. Moving on to number 10, Eli Lilly and Company. Uh, Okay, so Eli Lilly, I think they're a medicine, yeah, uh, a medicine type of company, I guess. So another medical pharmaceutical type of a deal there. Number 9, J.P. Morgan, Chase and Company. All right. So what's going to happen is with this rollback, your 401ks can your fiduciaries can put your money in these companies. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you are uh, are doing somersaults right now. Nvidia, okay, Nvidia Corporation. So I mean, to me, I've only seen two legit choices here. Maybe Home Depot, maybe Nvidia for now. Visa, Visa also makes the list, if you can believe that. Mastercard, Visa, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan. We're seeing the banks. We're seeing the banks in here. United Health Group. So again, medical pharmaceutical types of deals. United Health Group. I think this is actually an insurance though. Um, I'm not so sure if it's an insurance or yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna let's just say an insurance type. Okay, and then let's see. Click to continue reading the five biggest ESG companies in the world. Okay, well let's click on it. Number five, Tesla. Tesla is number five. Let me go ahead and make that a bit bigger for you. So we see Tesla coming in at number five. So I got to go to next. No, number four, Amazon. Amazon. All right. So your 401k may go into a company like Amazon. All right. Are you thrilled so far with this list? Are you thrilled? Okay. So let's move on. Well, if Amazon is there, of course, we are going to see Google, Alphabet Incorporated. Google is there. I mean, well, I mean, a lot of censoring going on with this company, but they don't mind taking your allowing 401ks to go to it. So Google is there at number three. Number two, Microsoft. Number two is Microsoft. So again, this is where your money can go. Your 401k contributions, your fiduciaries, they can now consider these companies based not on performance, but based on the ideology of ESG. And we're going to get to number one, but I want to take a look at a few of the comments and see which one of you might get number one correct. Okay, let me take a look at a few comments here. Um, let's see. Chemtrails, yeah, chemtrails. I don't see them too much nowadays. Do you, do you guys see? Can't believe we're talking about chemtrails also now. Um, okay, let's see what else is out there. Uh, yeah, everyone here eating crickets. Okay. Um, yeah, belly dance. It sure seems that way. It's not about money or power. This is about the human race, God's creation. For those of you that believe, it sure does seem like. Well, it actually it does seem like it's about power over these creations. Henry, rest in peace. Those retirement plans. Well, not so fast. There is something we can do about it, and we'll get to that. Um, let's see, John D. Liberto, controlling the money and monetary system is merely a means to an incredibly diabolical end. I mean, you look at the companies who are on this list. I mean, should we have expected anything different? But number one, who do you think that number one company is going to be? Let's see, we still got one more out there. Um, just catching up with the comments. All right, tell you what, I'll just go to the number one. Number one company is going to be. I'm sure a lot of you have probably got it. Apple. Apple is the number one biggest ESG company in the world. So again, investments are going to go towards ideologies and not necessarily performance based anymore. So those 15 companies, I mean, what do you my goodness, what do you think about that? I mean, your 401k contributions may or will now be used to fund and invest in these companies. Happy with that? So I'd like to know your thoughts on this. I had no idea that's where it's going. I was going to guess Exxon. Hey, we may as well bring Exxon back the way we're going with zombie companies, and why not have resurrected companies already at this point? I mean, it's getting pretty darn ridiculous with what the Fed is doing, picking and choosing winners and seeing all of these things go down the way they are. Let's see, Truth Monster, Apple is anti-free speech. You know, I won't agree or disagree to that, but I think what Apple did, uh, they showed their hand. They really showed their hand with what they did or what they didn't do. Peter Frowine, I did not know you worked at Apple. It makes me kind of sad too because I'm a fan of Macs. I use a lot of Apple gear, Apple equipment. But I'm watching a company slowly, really drift and go into a corner where you either submit to their types of I don't know. I'm just saying it seems that way because I guess Apple users, we know how you're going to buy a computer and then 3 years later, hey, everything's changed. You're forced to buy another computer and then hey, everything's changed again, and that is a problem. Brilliant marketing, but it is a problem that guys like me keep getting sucked into, and we tend to stay with their products. They do have good products, but anyway, nonetheless, I won't get into that too much. Okay, you were at Apple when Steve was still running things. Okay, that must have been a different. Has it changed for you? Have you seen the company culture change during from Steve Jobs to Tim Cook? Pretty interested to see what you may say there. Carriel and Wilder, the only one of them that I regularly use is Amazon. I try to cut back on Amazon. If I don't have to use them, I don't use them that much. I will look locally, and what I mean locally is, sometimes you got people in your own community that has the things that you'd like to get. It may be used. Sometimes it's new. Sometimes it's used, but it's okay. I mean, nothing wrong with checking your community, your surrounding area first. Uh, okay. Truth Monster. Yes, this Apple has nothing to do with Steve Jobs. Um. Okay, so you had the same computer for 15 years. How'd you do that? Okay, so let's move forward a bit. I want to show you one more company who's not on the list. They did not make this list. I don't know how they didn't make this list. Now, do you have an idea who this company might be? We just saw a whole bunch of big names, and there's one company that was not on the list. I'm going to show you who it is anyway. So let me move on. It's BlackRock. It is BlackRock, and the king of ESG lost 1.7 trillion of clients' money in just 6 months. Is this where you want your 401k to go based on an ideology? And this is where the problem lies, where your 401k went to performance-based companies, whereas now it's going to go to companies that may have a certain ideology, which just lost 1.7 trillion of their clients' money in 6 months. All right, let's take a look at this. BlackRock, this is July 21st of this year. So BlackRock Inc., known for most of the tough article. Okay. Pushing woke activism in investing has lost 1.7 trillion of its clients' money in the last 6 months, according to Bloomberg. The massive sum is the largest amount of money lost by an individual investment firm over that time period. And BlackRock has pushed for ESG, environmental, social, and corporate governance, a form of investing that scores companies based on their commitments to certain environmental aims and social causes, such as racial, gender, and diversity. Environmental, social, and governance investing is about investing in progress and recognizing that companies solving the world's biggest challenges can be positioned to grow. So, I mean, that's the thing. Do you agree with it, or not agree with it? It's not necessarily a financial investment. It looks to be more of a type of an ideology. It's even a political agenda. It is, and therefore is investing in an ideology and a pol- politician's favored agenda legal for a fiduciary to do. That's what it comes down to. Is this a legal thing? It wasn't before, and now apparently they're going to say it is, and they're even going to get covered. So, in supporting realistically funding a politician's interests and organization like the World Economic Forum's ideals, is this in your best interest? Because ESG, it is part of course, what World Economic Forum they do recommend. So again, I'm really trying to stay as neutral as I can. I'm just trying to give you what is out there. Everybody needs to make their own decision, as Peter Frowine has. Uh, Evil, BlackRock Evil, Vanguard Evil, State Street is. These are the three most. All right. Okay. Between these three, they own something like 90% of everything. Peter, that is true. I mean, we got to go back to the lockdowns where, if I recall, uh, companies like BlackRock, they were getting favor from the Federal Reserve. And then later on, we come to find out that companies like these, they actually went and bought up residential real estate. And we saw how, in some cases, it drove the market up. But more than that, home ownership. I mean, a corporation may own your home, might be the landlord to your home now. So even these things are changing. Um, so let's see what else is out here. Okay, let's see. Tweety Bird. This is Tweety Bird's financial advice, not mine. I do not give financial advice, professional or otherwise. Tweety Bird, my best financial advice is buy silver. But I think I'll follow what Tweety Bird says. I think that's a great position to have. All right, so moving on. What do companies actually think of the ESG agenda? And this is pretty interesting. This article came from CNBC. This was September 29th of 2022. So again, fairly recent article. Top corporations have embraced ESG publicly as core to their shareholder and stakeholder policies, but behind the scenes, executives exhibit less support for the rising influence of the investing philosophy. And I can kind of end it there. Thing is, we can go on and on, but that is what a lot of top CEOs of corporations are saying. Even their CFOs, their chief financial officers, are saying. So here's the deal: we can go on and on, and all this is going to continue to do is it's going to continue to divide a country, divide a world. I mean, that's just where we are today. So just taking two sides and really try and understand the two sides. So my question here is, if you don't agree, for those of you that do not agree with the 401k going to the likes of Apple and Tim Cook, who basically shut down airdrop as protesters use this feature to communicate and pass files. If you don't want your 401k contributions to go to Mr. Fink and BlackRock, who got boatloads of Fed money during the lockdowns, if you don't want your 401k money going to big banks, which are constantly being kept afloat by the Federal Reserve or who manipulate the precious metals markets, remember these guys I'm showing you, they were in the top 15, right? Except for BlackRock, maybe, which lost 1.7 trillion. But what can you do? What can you do if you don't want your 401k going to these guys? If you don't want a fiduciary investing your contributions to these companies, what can you do? Give your 401k funds to yourself and to use those funds to get gold and things like a precious metals IRA. Get gold, get silver. Give those funds to yourself. Invest in yourself. Imagine you have $100 in your bank account and this company is going to invest $50 in something maybe you don't agree with. Well, if you pulled away some of that money, took some money out of that account and went into something you already love, like gold and silver, maybe you won't fund them as much. Maybe you'll feel a bit better because you're doing something for yourself. We already know what's going on out there. So this is important where you have to take a bit off the table and keep it for yourself, because if you don't, they will they will rake the table and take everything out there and use it in their own way. So I would say a way to do something about this: roll some of those funds over into a precious metals IRA, and we'll touch on that in just a bit. But this is one way you can absolutely take control. All right. One last article, so we truly understand what will be happening. One last article. Actually, I think everybody probably already understands it. So they're going to loosen up the prior investing rules, and they're going to open it up for more environment, social, and government funds where 401k plans can go into this. Uh, so let me. There was something I wanted to show with this one, but maybe we don't need it. I think we all kind of pretty much understand what's going on. So um uh let's see. Well, employers have a legal duty to thoroughly assess funds risks and return when picking 401k plan investments. For example, they cannot subordinate the financial interests of workers in favor of a cause like climate change. Now, the new ESG rules don't change these duties. So they say, but they clarify that businesses can include the economic effects of climate change and other ESG considerations. So again, it's a little loophole. They're trying to skirt things here. So just trying to say we have to watch how they're trying to do this. In a nutshell, in picking funds for your 401k to be invested in ESG companies, which really is an ideology. I mean, I don't think anyone will argue that it's an ideology of a company, and they are now ready to accept your retirement funds with welcome arms. Fiduciaries is going to open up to them with cover that they can go ahead and put money in there. So that's going to wrap up this topic of the day. I'd like to know your comments here on it and see where we are at. Let's see, 495 ESG is the corporate the corporate jab. Shamed if they don't accept it. That is true. Corporations are under huge pressure, and they're basically shamed if they don't accept it. The strong corporations will survive. I think that's a great point there. Uh, Belly dance rabia are exactly. You may want to consider doing this. Withdraw your 401k pensions while you still can. Get silver and get gold. Now, the interesting thing here is it's not like, as I say, you and I have to open up our wallets. It goes into our monthly budget to buy metals and things like that. It's not like that at all. You see, you already have your 401k statement, let's say, and you know how much money is in there. You can use that money and roll it over into a, let's just call it a precious metals IRA. So in other words, if you have, let's say, 200,000 in your IRA, a lot of people say put 10% into gold and silver, diversify. Well, if you have 200,000 and 10%, maybe just put 20,000 of your IRA into a precious metals IRA. If you feel strongly, put 50,000. Roll over 50,000 into your precious metals IRA. You're not paying for this. It's not coming out of your wallet. That money is already there. You have it. Uh, contact contact me. Hey, you can contact me. I will tell you exactly what to do, and I will set you up with a proper administrator or custodian who will keep you tax compliant, and then get started. I mean, use your money for you. I mean, fund yourself is what I say. And so, belly dance, rabia, or I like that. I like that, and it's not just because I work for a precious metals company or anything like that. You guys know me already. I'm with you all the way. I'm one of you. I'm with you all the way. I'm just trying to provide solutions for you, for me, for all of us out there. So I mean, I think it may be time to look. Um, let's see. Let's see what else is out there. Carlos, I mean, I don't have a problem. In some ways, it's a competitor, but you are more important. In a 401k that gets 3% company match, you can self invest in Sprott if your 401k allows self investing. There are things called self directed IRAs. And again, uh, if you were to contact us, we would point you in the direction to contact one of these companies. They will go over all the things you need to know about being tax compliant. It's not that complicated. They will manage that part for you. And what will happen is you set up that account with them, and then what'll happen is you can send money to that account. Think of like when you sign up with their company, you will have sort of like a linked bank account. You send money to that bank account, and then what you can do is go ahead and buy your precious metals. And then what this company will do is make sure that you got the right types of precious metals, because you can't buy any kind of precious metals. They will make sure that you are buying the right type, and then your payment will go through, and then you own it, and then your precious metals will be vaulted. Now you can't hang on to it yourself. Uncle Sam, he doesn't like that. It needs to be stored in a proper, let's just call it, in a proper vault, and this is something we can do for you. We do have, believe it or not, a number of people who are in the States who actually store their metals with us in their retirement account. So this is something we can do for you. you can absolutely do it outside of the US. So again, just shoot us an email, either sbtv at silverbullion.com.sg, or me personally, Patrick at silverbullion.com.sg, and we'll go through it. We'll help you the best we can. Peter Frowine active today. Florida pulls 2 billion from BlackRock asset management firm over ideology. I heard something was going on with DeSantis and things there. I did not look at it yet, but I will take a look at it yet. Um, let's see what else is out there. Um, yeah, Harold B, you have to quit your job at most companies to get out of 401k. Thing is, these types of programs are not asking you to get out of your 401k. What they're doing is rolling it over. I will make certain on that with companies that we talk to, but you're not pulling it out per se where you're taking cash out for yourself. You're just rolling over whatever's in that account into a precious metals IRA. In other words, if you're gonna buy 50,000 in metals or whatever it is, you're not pulling out 50,000 and then giving the 50,000 somewhere else. It stays locked in some ways where you don't necessarily have access to it because it has to follow a legal chain. But again, these are things we can set you up with and help you to understand a bit more. Because rules do change, so I don't want to get too much into the rules. That's more for the compliance guys. I'm just more in the way of telling you the things you can buy and that you can store it here. You can absolutely store it in Singapore if you're feeling a bit queasy about keeping it in the states. Let's see what else is out there. Let's see. Um, okay. I never heard of this company. I almost got hosed by Gold Star Bullion and HSBC back in '08. My stuff wasn't there when I called it in, showed me how precious or precarious stuff is. Nick B, I mean, unfortunately, there are some nefarious types. I can give you one story where there was a gentleman, I believe it was 2012 gold maples he had stored in a different country, and then he chose to move those gold coins to be stored with us here in Singapore. And when we got those coins, I might have the dates off, but just to kind of tell how the story went. When we got those coins, which he bought in 2012, they were dated, I believe, 2018 or somewhere around there. And so you got to ask yourself, how can I buy a coin in 2012? I store it, and then when I see it, it's 2018. How is that possible? It's not. The only way that makes it possible is if what you bought, uh, can't tell you what happened to it, but can pretty much confidently say it had to be made up somehow. So different coins were put in your account. Um, Unfortunately, there are some companies that do that. We are not one of them. We are not one of them. What you buy, you own. It stays sealed up in tamper-evident bags. It just stays that way. It never comes back into our inventory because it belongs to you. Right. Let me see what else is out there. Um, let's see. Um, okay, I guess we're doing okay. Yes, keep stacking. Tweety Bird, I was always taught that climate changes all the time. I mean, it's I'm not a scientist. Okay, so I don't know. I don't see what scientists see, but I'm sure scientists agree and scientists disagree. But I do remember, times growing up, the hole in the ozone layer. I do remember, of course. I mean, I think some of you know I grew up in Hawaii. We were always told the island is sinking. Every year, the ocean is rising, the island is sinking, whichever way you want to look at it. We were told this so often when we were kids, and Hawaii's still there. It is still there. If anything, the volcano will will destroy it. I think the world's largest volcano is erupting right now back home. So a lot of barbecues going on, that's for sure. Let's see what else is out there. Great Nate, 2332 and headed higher. That's good news. I mean, if you didn't get silver, you might want to consider it. Um, okay, so I tell you what, I'll get to the commentary part here. In 401k, it's been politicized. You know, no way to sugarcoat this. If you don't like how your monthly contributions will be used to support a political agenda, let's say for big banks, I showed you the list: big banks, big pharma. Then it is now time today, today to maybe shift some money around from your 401k and put it into a precious metals IRA. Maybe today is the day. Leaving your money in a 401k may be used for things you don't agree with. It wasn't that way before, but it is today. Leaving money in your 401k means losing purchasing power. We already know the dollar's losing purchasing power. So you leave it in dollars, you're losing purchasing power. You might see more money nominally, but you're losing the purchasing power. And leaving your money in a 401k means the at the stroke of the pen, the IRS and its due 87,000 employees may opt to go after it in some sort of a desperate act. Because they are getting desperate, let me show you this. Where'd it go? Let me show you what I mean. Okay, insider trading by members of Congress, they turn a blind eye to that. SBF getting away with billions in this sort of a Ponzi scheme, they turn a blind eye to that. Your $600 Venmo transaction, oh man, they're all over you. They're all over that old lady who had a $77 trash bill and went to jail. So we are seeing two different sets of rules for two different sets of people. Roll over your 401k, roll it over into a precious metals IRA and fund yourself for things you like, things you love. If you need help doing it, let me know. Let me know, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. This is your time. This is your time. It belongs to you, not to anyone else. Do it today. Contact us today. Patrick at silverbullion.com.sg, SBTV at silverbullion.com.sg. Just go ahead and contact us. Let me see if I can put that down here. Hang on just a bit. Yeah, let me just throw it in here for you. Hang on. Okay, there you go. There's my email. Just shoot me an email, patrick at silverbullion.com.sg, and we'll try and get you pointed in the right direction. So that's going to wrap it up. I'll look for a few more comments and then we'll get going. Again, truly secure your wealth. SBTV is we're the outreach arm of Silver Bullion, and this is what we want you to understand. And the point we're trying to get across is we all need to truly secure our wealth with what's going on for sure, and we have programs that can help with it. Uh, let's see. Let's see what's out there. I will send you to the right people for sure who can help you understand the compliance side of the 401k and the ins and outs of it. We are more on the side that we can help you as far as the choices, the vaulting, the jurisdiction of Singapore, why it is favorable for you. So it's two things that can work hand in hand for you. Let's see. Okay, I guess we are okay here. Um, Cheers, everyone. Yes, Henry, you are welcome. Vincent, thank you for being here and helping me with it. As I always say, you know, saddle up for what's coming ahead, silver up as well. Be a blessing, not a burden. And again, we all need to learn how to truly secure our wealth. You can do that with silver bullion. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. It's holiday season. Take care of one another. See you next week.